So welcome everybody, and we're back here at the Dutch Blockchain Week, the second day of the summit. And I'm live here with Sean Bohan from Linux. So it's an honor to have you here. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. We were big fans of this event, and when we were offered a chance to talk to the Dutch Blockchain Week community, we were really excited to attend. So.
Awesome. So you are, what's your title with Linux?
Sure. I am a community architect with Linux Foundation Decentralized Trust. Within the Linux Foundation, LFDT is the flagship organization for decentralized technologies and ecosystems. So it's everything from code projects and standards to community stuff, which is really what I do, but really getting folks interested in these technologies and working with them. Not everybody who contributes to a Linux Foundation project is code. Some folks contribute documentation, some folks contribute their knowledge. We support all of that. Like our goal is to help these communities grow and build and get stuff done.
So Linux is actually a very well-established brand. It's a very large company. So what does Linux, what's the goal for Linux here in the Netherlands, being at the Dutch Blockchain Week?
Well, so a lot of the projects that we have are in use right now. Like so in 2017 when I started, everything was POCs and pilots. Mm-hmm. And now we have in production, not use cases, not theories, not I'd love to do this for this, but actually in production use of this technology. Right. Why are we in the Netherlands? Well, we're a global organization. We have developers all over the world, in almost every country in the world. And in some cases, we have far more people using our technologies than contributing to them and developing them. And that's great. Like, we love users. We love folks taking Hyperledger Fabric or Besu and running with it and building really interesting things on top of it. A former colleague, a former boss of mine called it permissionless innovation. Anybody can use an open source project. We would love it if they would contribute back and become maintainers. But really the reality is these are passionate communities who are solving problems. They're putting those solutions out in public. Anyone can work with them. And in that process, we get tons of contributors and maintainers, because once you start using a project, you rely on a project. You want to make sure it's going to A, continue, but B, it's doing the things you need. And that's when you start interacting with a project and helping work on the feature set or in the roadmap. We really need this by this. And that's how we get folks to engage.
Right. So we've talked to a lot of people.
Sure.
And a central question every time is, how does your company, how did you, perhaps personally, help the crypto adoption to move forward? Specifically
crypto, as in cryptocurrencies?
Yes.
We are directly involved with some of the technologies that are building the crypto space. The Linux Foundation does not have a token, does not have a coin. We never will, or most likely never will. I also never signed a non-disclosure agreement because we are open source. Anyone can use this and we work with everybody, which is really great and freeing for me. But as an example, Besu. So Besu is an enterprise Ethereum client. Anybody can go right now to GitHub, get into that repo and start building with and building on Besu if they wanted to. And that's for mainnet. But also we have an entire community of folks who are building private Ethereum networks for some of the biggest banks in the world. They both have very similar needs, but in some cases the banks need very specific things that the mainnet folks don't have on their roadmap. And so working with those two communities, because they're all working together, every time you fix a bug or create a feature, everybody benefits. And so we spend a lot of time building bridges between our members and our communities and the developers, and also people who just knock on our door and say, hey, what blockchain should I use? And my answer is the same. That depends on what you're trying to do. And then I can't tell them, we can't be prescriptive, but we can give them maps. And they can start diving down the maps, joining a community call, watching a YouTube video of a workshop where someone takes you through end-to-end how to build a decentralized identity platform. Or, my favorite one, we just had a conversation about it, we have a fantastic half-hour video of zero-knowledge proofs, ZKPs, using high school math. And one of my favorite contributors did this because there's a lot of mystery around zero-knowledge proofs. If you're a layman, if you're not in our space, you may not know about it. This was a wonderful primer For someone who's like, I've heard about this, I read an article, I saw something in Bitcoin Magazine,
Right.
I want to know more about it, it's great. And it's accessible, more importantly.
Right, so building bridges.
Building bridges is I'm not going to say 90% of my job, because that changes every day, but it's a huge part of our job. And those bridges aren't just between our members.
No.
It's, one of our members comes to us and says, hey, we have this use case we need to solve. Great, here's a project over here you can use. Or we have a project that says, you know, we really think there's a way for this to work in healthcare. Well, we have a healthcare special interest group. Let's talk about your project at the SIG. I joke with people, I hate politics, but I love diplomacy. Mm-hmm. It's diplomacy all the time.
Exactly, yeah. So, in the past few months, years, what were the biggest hurdles for Linux to move forward?
So, biggest hurdles, that's tough. I don't know if we have biggest hurdles. We have a constant job that we do of building bridges, of working with some of the biggest companies in the world to get them into these technologies if they're interested, or help them find the right place to go. The biggest challenge I have as a community architect is I routinely walk into rooms and find out someone's using one of our projects to do something really cool, and I don't find out about it until it's launched. So I walk into a room, the entire nation of Bhutan is working with decentralized identity. I found out after they rolled it out. Right. By the way, they don't owe me, permissionless innovation. No one owes me a phone call to tell me they're doing something cool.
No, it's all open source.
But then I'm going to call them when I find out, because I want to hear about how it went, what they're doing.
Exactly.
Can you come and talk to our community about what you found? Yeah. Some of the best feedback we've gotten on these projects, and we have 18 full projects and 20, maybe 30 labs. And labs are very small. They're two kids in a garage trying to find traction. Let's build a community around it. But for all of those projects, like, it's really fun to find out when people are doing cool things, and when they are, that informs other projects. We had a meeting in Brussels last year in September, where a gentleman said to us about decentralized identity. He said, this is really important, and everybody in this room gets it, but no one has explained to the person outside walking across the street in Brussels why they need a wallet on their, why they need a digital identity wallet, and they don't know what they can do with it. So we have a communication job to do. We have a storytelling job to do. We have an education job to do. Those are some of the challenges that we have, but that's, you know, staff gets to work on that challenge, our members work on that challenge every single day, our contributors work on that challenge every single day. You know, we have some of the best workshops in the world because you're really passionate about your project and you want to share it with the world. And then hopefully that education workshop will attract some new users, but also hopefully some new contributors and maybe even maintainers. And maintainers are senior contributors. They have grown within a project. They have credibility and respect and reputation within a project. And they're sort of like the senior folks in a given project. And that's the sort of development path. Use it, contribute, maintain, and again, permissionless, so I find out later, then I call and, you know, let's do a workshop.
Exactly. Well, you were mentioning challenges, obviously. One of the biggest challenges in well, perhaps blockchain in general, but specifically in crypto, is usability. Yeah. Is that also something that Linux is developing on?
That is a huge challenge.
Right.
And here's why. All of my projects, all of our projects, all of our organizations, decentralized projects, there will never be a Linux Foundation Decentralized Trust wallet or an LFDT blockchain. You go to GitHub, you because of your requirements, Hyperledger Fabric or Besu are perfect for you. You pick them up and run with it.
Right.
You install it on your side. You don't have to let me know. I wish you did. I wish you'd tell me when you're doing something cool. You don't have to let me know about any of this. You can go and build.
Right. Well, the camera is yours. Like,
well, yeah.
Ask them to let them know. No. That's just.
But the challenge is, how do we create an environment where those people feel welcome, first and foremost?
Yeah.
How do we get them to what they need as quickly as possible? But when you talk about UX, I work with a lot of digital identity wallet projects right now, and we have the base code that's going to make that wallet amazing. The Republic of Ireland is going to want to have a UX on their wallet that's very different than Germany or the Netherlands. There's language differences. You know, there's a whole bunch of things within UX that we are concerned about, but because we don't create end user products, there's, I don't have an easy answer for that. We do not live in the world of UX. I used to work at Firefox.
All right.
And there is the Chrome, there is the browser itself, and it's incredibly important. But how it looks and feels, if you move a pixel, people start yelling.
Right.
Because you change something that they rely on.
Exactly.
And anytime there's a UX change in a product like Firefox, people are very passionate about it, they will yell at you, and that's cool, because that means they're paying attention.
Yeah, they're
but it's also really hard, because when you want to make a change, or there's something really important you need to add, you need to be really considerate in how you do that. With a lot of our projects right now, there is the implementation of a Besu network, but any user interface is going to be handled by the folks working with that. Right. I used to work in consumer software, and the fact that I don't do any UX work now for years is really weird to me, but we don't have, UX is a concern, but it's more of a project level concern, not a code level concern.
So to round up the interview,
sure.
I would really love to understand from your side, what's the near future bringing in blockchain for you?
I am incredibly excited by the work that's going into the EU Digital Identity Wallet Program, EUDI.
All right.
All the member countries of the EU, by statute, they've said by 2027 every country's going to have a wallet, it's going to be interoperable. We'll be able to have verifiable credentials, which is something I've been working on since 2017. We'll have verifiable credentials for the people in the country. The exciting thing for me is the ecosystem that's going to be built around that. As a resident of the Netherlands, I am going to be very happy to have a Dutch wallet. And that will hold my BSN number and all the important credentials that I have with the Dutch government right now. It's all the things that can be built around that, the ecosystem that comes with it. I call it the bullseye. It's like a dartboard. Right? There's the wallet in the center, but here are all the things that can happen. Yeah. I can use that wallet to get my dog out of daycare. I can use that wallet to get into my building if it had a digital scanner. I can use that wallet, if you've ever rented an apartment, you have to give over all kinds of information about yourself. I can use that wallet to build the references for my landlord in a way that's secure. My landlord doesn't care what my college transcript says, but my landlord does care. Do I have a bank account? Is it with a bank I recognize? Do I have, have I paid my bills with Eneco, the local electric company? Have I paid my bills with the electric company on time? All of that can be a digital credential. I hand it over to the landlord, they check it, and then I remove access to those credentials.
That's awesome.
Which is the world I want to see. That's a superpower I want users to be able to take.
Yeah.
And that's something down the road, obviously, but over the next couple of years, we're going to see that.
All right, right. So, thank you very much, Sean, for this interview. You heard, Sean is building bridges with Linux, and he is very passionate about 2027, 2026, what was it?
I'm very passionate about tomorrow.
Tomorrow, that's it.
Diplomacy, not politics.
Tomorrow. So, you heard it here on Bitcoin Magazine. Keep watching our channel. We will be bringing more interviews here live from the Dutch Blockchain Week 2025. Thank you so much.
Thank you. This was great.
We'll see you soon.